Okay, hi there, everybody. My name is Tony, and I am a teacher and the founder here at Worlds English. And today we are going to start preparing you to take the TOEFL. This lesson will be an introduction to the writing section of the TOEFL. As you may know already, I hope, that there are 4 parts to the TOEFL: the reading, writing, listening, and speaking sections. So we will have videos in the future of the other sections, but we're going to go ahead and start with the writing section. I'm going to disappear from the video, and you should just be hearing me and seeing the lesson. So first of all, I would like to direct you to the Worlds English website, to the section on the TOEFL, so that you can get more information about how to enroll in the exam. And it's highly recommended that you have a high intermediate level of English ability prior to attempting the TOEFL. You won't score well if you don't have that ability. So if you're not at that level yet, then you should work on your English skills first. So you should enroll in general English lessons. So, you know, we have conversational and general English that would be helpful. Conversational would only be helpful for the speaking section. So, you know, to do well on all 4 sections, you should enroll in general English. And you should make sure your level is at least an intermediate, preferably an upper intermediate level, before you enroll in the TOEFL preparation courses. Now, if you don't know what your level is, you can go here to book one of our classes and choose this introductory lesson with level test or free level test here. Complete the form and submit that, and we will send you a free level test. There's no charge for that. Okay. But on the worldsenglish.net site, I would like to direct you to scroll down, way down, and here you will see the different exam preparation courses that we offer. And if you choose TOEFL here, you can go to the ETS TOEFL website and get all the information you need, as well as the ability to, I believe you can register for the TOEFL. You can learn more about who accepts the scores. You can join their email list. You can get additional preparation materials. So this site is very useful for anyone who is preparing for the TOEFL. And that should accompany your lessons with a trained TOEFL teacher that can help you perfect the skills that you need. Okay, so back to our lesson, back to our introduction. Okay, we're going to go ahead and get started. So thank you again for being here today. And if you have any questions, you can reach out to us and send a message on the worldsenglish.net website. Okay. So the writing section is actually the last part of the test. You're going to do listening, speaking, and reading first. Not necessarily in that order. I'm not sure. I don't recall the order. The writing section takes about an hour. And since you are timed, it should take exactly an hour. And there will be 2 tasks. One is called an integrated task or an integrated question. And the other is called an independent question. Now, in the integrated question, you will either be listening or reading. So it's you're also using those skills when you complete the writing part of the exam. You will listen to a passage, so you have to listen very carefully and take notes. And then you'll be asked a question about the listening passage, and you will have a limited amount of time to respond. So it's always good to take notes as you're listening. Don't take detailed notes, just write down keywords to help you remember, because you don't want to be distracted from listening very carefully. Okay, if you happen to receive the reading question instead, then you will want to do the same thing, but you can highlight, if you're allowed to write in the booklet. You would be taking the internet version, so you would just want to write notes, write down the keywords to remember, help you remember the things that you read in the text. And again, you will be presented with a question about that. Okay, about that reading passage. Okay, in the second question on the reading portion, you will receive an independent question. So what this means is you'll be asked a question about your own opinions, like how do you feel the transportation system could be improved in your community? Or what is your favorite food? Something, it could be anything. You will see sample questions in the course, and you will practice with some of these questions. So by the time you complete the TOEFL preparation course, you will have a better idea of what to expect. So the TOEFL preparation course, I'm just going to show you. For the writing section, there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There are 6 more lessons. Today we are doing the first lesson. These other 5 lessons will be in a typical classroom rather than pre-recorded. You will need to attend the lesson. Okay. And then, of course, there's also speaking, listening, and reading, which we will talk about in those videos. Okay. So there are six, and including this one, a total of 7 lessons to the writing portion of the TOEFL preparation course. Okay, so we talked about an independent task. Okay, and then when you respond, of course, you're going to be doing the internet version of the exam. So you'll be typing your response on a computer keyboard. So one recommendation I heard from our friends at OptaClass was that you should practice using different keyboards if you have the opportunity, because you may be on a keyboard that's very different to you. It's different than the one that you're used to using. And it may feel awkward and it may slow you down. And I can vouch for this because on my other job, I change computers a lot. I go to different offices and I use their computers for the work. So it's always a new keyboard. And when I first start with a new keyboard, it feels very slow and clunky. So it's good advice, I think. All right, so let's go ahead. All right, so all right, so you'll need to have a notepad, a piece of note paper. So I'll wait just a moment for you to get a piece of paper and a pen to write notes. And I apologize for the background noise on my computer. I have various notifications. Okay, so the directions say that you need to respond to each question, providing a number from 1 to 5. Number 1 indicates that you disagree strongly with the statement. 1, I disagree. While 5 indicates that you agree strongly with it. So 5, you agree. And of course, you can be anywhere in the middle, 2, 3, or 4. Okay, so first question, I know how to write a good topic sentence. Okay, so you can write on your paper letter A and write a 1 if you disagree that you know how to write a good topic sentence, or 5 that you agree. Excuse me, or something in the middle if you only partially agree. Okay, and that's the same for B. Go ahead and write B on your paper and assign a number 1 through 5. I am comfortable using different organizational styles to respond to written questions. C. I can type well on any keyboard, making few grammar and spelling mistakes. D. I am familiar with templates to produce a standardized essay. E. I am good at taking notes and converting them to complete text. F. I am good at expressing my own ideas and the opinions of others. G. I write articles or essays at least once a month in my native language or in English. Okay, so if you did not assign at least a 4 or 5 to these, then you probably are not ready for the TOEFL yet. And these are the things that we are going to help you with. We're not here to help you learn grammar or vocabulary, or in the case of writing, punctuation or paragraph structure or anything like that. These are things that you should know before you start this course. So if you need to work on those things, you should take our general English course, and we'd be happy to help you learn those things and get to the level you need to succeed in the TOEFL. Okay, because these are the things that you will be scored on. You will be scored on how well you write a good topic sentence, how well you are able to use different organizational styles to respond to written questions. Are your responses organized? Of course, as we mentioned before, you may have a keyboard that you're not comfortable with, so you should be able to type well on any keyboard so that you don't have a lot of typos, a lot of typing errors. And, you know, as far as grammar and spelling, hopefully you've already attained those skills prior to coming into this course. Okay, using a template for your essay is very important, very useful, and highly recommended. And you will learn and will be provided with a template that will help you do well on the essay. Okay, note-taking should be something that you're good at, because you should be able to write some keywords and some short notes and then use that information to write a complete text, a complete response. This is not only useful for the TOEFL, but if you're taking the TOEFL for the purpose of admission to an English-speaking university, these are skills you need as a student. Well, not even just English speaking, just in general, you would need these skills as a student. You need to be good at expressing your own ideas as well as the opinions of others. So we call that compare and contrast. You're looking at both sides of the argument. And there are questions like that. Okay. You should be able to write articles. Or it should be common practice for you, I'm sorry. It should be common practice for you to write articles or essays at least once a month. So maybe you keep a blog, or maybe you write for in your school or in your local newspaper, whatever you do. But you should be practicing your writing as much as possible. Okay. All right, so you have your piece of paper now, so you can take some notes if you like. So take a look at this question and think about how you would answer this question. You could discuss how you would answer this question, but I can't hear you. So, okay. So the question is, do you disagree? Sorry, I'm not meaning to highlight that. Do you agree or disagree with the following statement? Now, this question is going to be used for just about any independent question you might be given on the exam. So the question is, a good parent should be friendly, but not a friend. Okay, so to answer this question, you should write some quick notes about why you agree or disagree with this statement. A good parent should be friendly, but not a friend. And those notes those keywords should help you support your answer. Okay, so do you feel comfortable answering this question? Okay, I can't hear you, but I hope that you're saying yes. I hope that this is something you have an opinion on. If you do not have an opinion on the question that's asked of you, pretend you do. Take a stance and pretend that you have an opinion and support that opinion. Okay, so if you're not sure, just fake it. Pretend that you do have an opinion. Okay? You should not answer the question with something that suggests that you don't have an opinion and you don't feel one way or the other about it. You should take a side. Okay, so which essay structure would you use? Okay, we're going to talk about the essay structures. So if you are not sure which one you would use, that's okay. Okay, so hopefully you do have a personal opinion about the statement, but if you don't, you're going to take a side anyway. Okay. Okay, so the two writing tasks, as we mentioned, number 1 is an integrated task, and number 2 is an independent task. Okay, so the slide you just saw, asking your opinion, that was an example of question number 2, or an independent task. You will have 20 minutes to respond. So you ideally would take a few minutes, not too long, you know, as quickly as you can, to structure some sort of outline for your response. Write down some ideas, some keywords, and then the rest of the time to give your response. 20 minutes goes by so fast. It sounds like a long time, but it will be over before you know it. So you have to really get moving on this. And this is why you need to practice, practice, practice. When you take the writing lessons, if you find that you're not able to provide a complete answer the first time, then that just tells you you need to practice. And I'm pretty sure that's how it's going to go. I don't think you will have a complete answer the first time. Most people don't. But the more you practice, the more you will be able to organize your thoughts. Okay, question number 1, the integrated task, is the one where you are going to listen to a passage or read a book, read a text, and you only have 3 minutes to read the text. Actually, I had forgotten you do both. Okay, I apologize for that. I haven't taught TOEFL for a little while, but I have. This is what we did do. We had a text and a listening passage. So you'll have 3 minutes to read the text. That's not very long. So you want to write your keywords and move on. Get through the paragraphs. Okay, then you're going to listen to a passage where a professor will be discussing the same topic you just read about. And he or she may or may not have the same opinion or the same information as what was in the text. Okay, once you have listened to the professor, listened to the passage, and read the text, you're going to be given a prompt, a question, and that's what you will respond to. Okay, and you're going to respond based on what you just read and heard. Okay. So as I mentioned, It's very difficult to give a complete answer in the time allowed. It's not very much time, and that's one of the big challenges to the TOEFL, is the time is very limited. So the purpose of this course, the purpose of the writing course, is to teach you strategies, teach you templates and formats that will help you to complete the task quickly so that you can focus on the content of your writing and not have to spend as much time focusing on your format. Okay, so you want to focus, you want to be able to spend your time thinking about the content and making sure that you're writing correctly, using correct grammar, spelling and punctuation, and so forth. Not making careless errors. Okay, so here's another example question. Do you agree or disagree with the following statement? Okay, it's actually the same question. A good parent should be friendly, but not a friend. All right, here's a sample answer, and I'm going to go ahead and read this. It is clear today that many parents likes to act in a friendly manner towards their children, while also wanting to be a friend. In my opinion, this is a mistake. I believe that parents should be friendly, even though they should not be friends with their children. First, the relationship between parents and children is structurally different than between parents and friends. And the parent-child relationship has different rights and obligations. Secondly, the age difference to parents and their children is an obvious barrier to friendship. Finally, it is a fact that children require discipline as they grow, and a friend is not in a position to administer discipline. Okay, so what did you think of this? Did you see any errors? Does it sound like a good response? I can tell you that there are errors and there are problems with this response. However, it's not bad. Okay, let's move forward. Okay, so this is another introductory answer to the same question. All right, so same question. Do you agree with or disagree with the following statement? A good parent should be friendly but not a friend. Okay, parents adamant in developing an amicable relationship to their offspring are making an enormous mistake. There are multiple reasons why a parent ought not be a friend to their children. First and foremost, it's a parent's utmost responsibility to assist with the growth and development of a child. It isn't the parent's job to be liked. Additionally, the power boundary that should exist between parents and children becomes unmanageable if children view their parents as friends. Most importantly, parenting is an occupation with broad and serious obligations, and parents should not treat raising children as a casual task. Okay, so we can see that this student, this tester, has quite a high level of vocabulary, but we're going to talk about that later, okay? It's good to have a broad vocabulary so that you have a lot to pull from, but that doesn't always mean you should use it. At least maybe not quite to this level, but we'll discuss that later too. Okay, so here we go. Okay, so it says score each answer from 1 to 5. All right, so I'm not going to read those again because I'd be reading what I just read. So I'd like you to pause the video and look through these and assign each of these a score between 1 and 5. And I've given you a little bit of clue on this, but For the most part, just read it and assign it based on how you feel they did. And then I'll see you on the next slide. Okay, welcome back. Hopefully you were able to assign a score you felt comfortable with. So now we're going to talk about how you would be scored. And what the scorers are looking for, and what will be the most important items for you to focus on. So the first scoring category is for developing the topic. Okay, how well are you able to expand on the topic and develop that topic? So in our first task, information is connected between reading and listening. The professor's position is explained with details from the lecture. And the writing is 125 to 225 words in length. Our second person clearly stated the point of view in the introduction. The key points are explained with supporting examples and details, and they wrote at least 300 words. Okay, so I don't see any problems there. Structural organization and clarity of expression. Okay, actually I want to back up because I thought we were looking at the two students, but these are actually the two tasks. Okay, so this is not our scores just yet. But this is what we're looking for in task 1 in the integrated question. This is what they're scoring you on. This is what they're looking for. And in task 2, the independent question, this is what they're looking for. Now for structural organization and clarity of expression, in the first task, they want to see an introduction, body, paragraphs, and a conclusion. Okay, this is basic writing skill, basic essay writing. Introduction, body, conclusion. Okay, so you should know this before you are preparing to take the TOEFL. Transition and linking words are something that you should have learned up to this point, okay? What are transition and linking words? Let's back up and look at a couple. I don't want to get too far into that because you should know that. But first and foremost, in my opinion, first, secondly, finally. Okay. What else? You know, we're linking using the first, secondly, and finally are linking those ideas together. They're also used for transition from one idea to the next. So if you're not comfortable with those, you should definitely brush up on that. Okay. And then correct grammar, punctuation, and spelling, and varying sentence length. Those, of course, apply to both, actually. You know, and I think I only saw maybe one grammar error, and I don't recall any other errors, but I'd have to look again. Okay. In the independent question, the opinion question, You should be making your key point and supporting it with personal details. Okay. All right, here's your template. It says, do not reinvent the wheel. What does this idiom mean? It means don't try to do what has already been done. It will take too long and you will have to expend too much effort. When you can take what someone else has done and learn from it and use it as a guide. Okay, so that's what a template is. It's a guide. Okay, so your template for task 1, your integrated question, the one that you're going to read a passage and listen to a passage. In your first paragraph, you're going to discuss the main topic from the reading and lecture. In your second paragraph, you're going to refer to the first key point from the reading, and then you're going to point from that to how the speaker addressed that very same topic or that very same point. Okay, in your third paragraph, you're going to refer to the second key point from the reading. Same thing, you're going to discuss how the speaker addressed that. And there should be a third key point as well. Of course, if there are not 3 key points, you wouldn't have this many sections, but I believe on all of the integrated questions there will be three key points. When you're practicing the questions, pay attention to those questions and notice how many key points there are. Okay? And that's the things. Your template not only applies to how you write your response, but how you organize your notes prior to writing. So you're going to write, maybe on your note paper, you'd write main topic, and then next to that write what, the answer to that. What is the main topic? And then paragraph 1, or point 1, point 2, point 3. Or just write 1, 2, 3, and that's where you're going to write your 3 points. And then the conclusion, of course, you're just going to summarize and wrap everything up at the end. So it's really quite simple, but the important part is how well you organize it in your notes and in your writing. Okay, now in the second task, the independent question, you have the same number of paragraphs, but here you want to give a summary of the topic and an introduction of the key points. So you'll want to write in your 2, 3, and 4, your keywords that indicate what the key points are. But then you're also going to want to mention them in that first paragraph. That's just a brief mention of them. But then when you get to the paragraph for each of those, you're going to elaborate more on those and include your personal opinion, your personal details on those as well. Okay, and then when you get down to the end, of course, like any conclusion, you're just going to wrap it up. So the way I like to think of this paragraph structure is in the first paragraph, tell them what you're going to tell them. And then in the body, which is all 3 of these key points, tell them So tell them what you're going to tell them, then tell them, and then tell them what you just told them in the conclusion. Okay? All right. The second task, the independent task, you have 30 minutes to write a 4 or 5 paragraph essay. Whether it's 4 or 5 paragraphs is going to depend on how many key points you had, right? So if there were 2 rather than 3 key points, you're probably only going to have 4 paragraphs, okay? But if that's the case, you're going to have to write more on each key point because you need at least 300 words. So if you have 5 paragraphs, 3 key points, you'll write a little bit less than if you have 4 paragraphs and 2 key points. Okay? All right, we have a question. Do you agree or disagree with the following students' views? I don't worry about checking, spelling, and grammar in the last few minutes. I type so well, I'm not worried about making mistakes. Okay, you need to pace yourself so that you do hopefully finish a few minutes later and you can quickly proofread and look for mistakes. I don't care how good of a typist you are, you're going to be on a new keyboard, one you're not comfortable with. You're going to be in a loud testing room under a high pressure situation, and no matter how good you are, this will make it more challenging for you. So do yourself a favor and make sure you have time to check your work. Okay, next one. Do you agree or disagree with the following students' views? I can't type fast, yet I think the scorers understand that not everyone has excellent keyboard skills. They might understand it, but that doesn't mean they're going to give you any benefit or any handicap for that. That is not something they can take into consideration. They are scoring you under a very strict criteria, and they cannot waver on that. So regardless of how good or bad your keyboard skills are, you will be scored equally with everyone else. So it is to your benefit to work on your keyboard skills and practice on different keyboards. Okay, I think that you can easily write 300 words in the time if you're an average typist, but you do want to go back and look for errors. Okay, C, you shouldn't worry about the number of paragraphs in your essay. Okay, we just talked about that, but let me finish the question. It's more important to reach the word limit than to write 4 or 5 paragraphs. Okay, no, it's not. You should worry about the number of paragraphs in your essay because you need to worry about structuring it to the key points, the key ideas. So you should have a paragraph for each of those, plus your introduction and conclusion. Essay structure is just as important, and probably more important, I believe. I'm not sure on the grading criteria on that, but I think that it's more important than the number of words. If you are taking the time to fully develop each idea, you will achieve the word limit. Okay, I make sure that I use sentences of varying length. Yes, this is important. You don't want all of your sentences to sound exactly the same. They'll sound robotic, maybe even rehearsed and not very creative. Okay, so if you're truly thinking creatively as you write, your sentences will naturally be of varying length. Okay, I don't always use special words to link my ideas, but since I write in a logical and coherent style, readers understand my flow of ideas. You should try to link your ideas. I'm kind of, we'll see what our material says about this, but I'm kind of torn on this because in natural native English speaking and writing, we don't always use the special linking words. We use them part of the time, most of the time even, but not every single time. However, we'll look at this a little closer further in the lesson because I think this is an expectation on the exam. So we'll look at that some more. Okay, so here we go. Using linking and transition words. Okay, so as we were discussing this earlier, I showed you these examples. Nevertheless, for example, while, additionally. So these are linking or transitional words. I'm just curious if there are any sentences in here without it. They're really linking the ideas, not every single sentence. So that's where I was going with that idea. Like here, you don't really have that, but you're still talking about the same idea. It's just a separate sentence under the same idea. Okay. So you don't need it for every single sentence if your second sentence is a continuation of the idea in the first sentence. So we have, for example, if a parent shouts at a child in a supermarket, this might be the result of asking the child to stop doing something for the previous 5 minutes. Parents should not worry about being judged by others who are rarely in a position to fully understand the situation. Okay. So you could say something like, thus, parents should not worry about being judged by others. And that would not be incorrect. But on the other hand, it's really not totally necessary either. Okay. So I think the important thing is just to make sure that you are using some of those in your essay to show your ability to do so. Okay. Stating opinions, whether your own or those of the professor, you must express your opinions in writing. Read the question and the sample first body paragraph. What did the candidate do wrong? Okay, so the question was, summarize the points made in the lecture you just heard, explaining how they cast doubt on the points made in the reading passage. So the writer first proposed that frequent exposure to tablets and smartphones is causing delayed development of human eye contact in children. The writer mentions a single study that illustrates how certain children aged under 5 appear uncomfortable when making eye contact with others, sometimes even with their own parents. Just like the speaker, I disagree with the writer. Okay? So it seems clear to me that smartphones and tablets are a recent invention and that it is currently impossible to determine any effects on young children. Additionally, I do not feel that a single study proves or disproves anything. Okay, so what's wrong with this? It's pretty good, but there's something missing here. What is it? Okay. When you write your response, do not copy words directly from the source. This is plagiarism. Okay, not only is it plagiarism if you don't quote and give credit, it's also it's also showing that you don't understand the topic. You need to be able to paraphrase and put things in your own words. So that's something that you will practice in the lessons, in the reading lessons. Okay, so you'll read various texts or listen to passages, and then you'll paraphrase those into your own language, your own way. So we have two paraphrase texts here, A and B, and the question is, which is the better paraphrase text? So first we're going to read the original text right here. The celebration was a traditional religious affair in which buildings were decorated with many colors, while village women performed special ceremony by offering saffron, turmeric, fruits, and varieties of sweets to the deity. Okay, the first person paraphrased it like this. During the religious festivities, people brighten up the buildings. The women of the village have a custom of offering sweet spices and fruits to the god. The second person paraphrased it like this. Offering the god fruits, sweets, and spices is a time-honored tradition by the women in the village. During this celebration, village buildings are decorated using as much color as possible. Okay, so which one do you think is paraphrased better? Okay, so looking back at our original paragraph. Okay, I think they both touch on it, but it really is a matter of your opinion, which is the best, which is better. But it's two examples of ways to paraphrase this passage. Okay. All right, some advice from students. And this is bad advice, apparently, so we're going to talk about why. Okay, so these are things you might hear, but if you hear this advice, it's not correct. Before the test, the best thing to do is study vocabulary. The scorers are looking for academic vocabulary that shows a candidate's ability to use technical words. Okay, of course you should have a good level of vocabulary before you take the test, but you should be to that point in your language skills before you even start preparing for the test. So probably the best thing you can do is just read a lot, and your vocabulary will grow from reading. But do not focus too much time on learning big vocabulary words. As long as you have a well-rounded vocabulary, it doesn't necessarily need to be big words. You just need to be able to express the idea. You just need to be able to find the right words to express the idea that you want to express. But don't think you need to use huge, complicated words to do that. During the test, just start writing. Don't worry too much about using a plan. Write as much as you can. Then in the last 5 minutes, go back and write the introduction and conclusion. That might get you to your word count, but that will not give you the structure that they are looking for in the exam. So while you can do the body of your essay first, touching on your key points, and then go back and write the introduction and the conclusion, don't just write blindly. You still need that structure. You need to have your 2 or 3 key ideas that you're expanding on. Okay, and if you can complete those you know, if you can portray your complete thoughts in your writing, then you will meet the word requirement. Okay. See, a good way to practice before the test is to memorize memorize written answers to questions. Questions are almost the same every few years, so you only need to memorize about 10 different questions. No, no, no. The testers will know if you do this. They grade hundreds and hundreds or thousands or whatever of exams, and they know the ones that are staged, that are memorized, and this will hurt your score. And the questions do change. So you may memorize completely the wrong thing. And then you're going to be, as we like to say, up a creek without a paddle, because you won't be prepared. So memorizing the questions and your answers to the questions is not going to be as helpful as just knowing how to approach the questions, how to break it down into key ideas, and how to structure your response with your introduction, your body, and your conclusion. Okay, so don't worry about memorizing the questions. And you're going to practice so much that you will learn different types of questions. And even if you get a different question on the exam, it's likely to be similar to some of the ones you practiced with. Okay, advice D. Don't worry about making spelling mistakes, especially if you learned English in Britain, Australia, or somewhere else, and you don't know North American spelling very well. Okay. The TOEFL is the American Standard version of basically a placement exam. So in everyday life, in academic writing, and everything you do after the TOEFL in the USA, if you use British spelling, you're probably going to be fine and no one will hold it against you. But for the purpose of the TOEFL, we're using American English, so you need to spell in American English. There are lists available on the internet and probably on the TOEFL site that will show you the various words that are spelled two ways depending on whether you're using British English or American English. But try to make sure that you know the American spellings as much as possible for the purpose of the TOEFL. Okay, so it looks like that's the last slide. Okay, I didn't realize we were at the end. So hopefully you have a good introduction of what to expect on the TOEFL writing part of the exam. And as you attend the other courses, you're going to be addressing and learning how to respond to challenge questions, support questions, problem and solution questions, preference questions, remember task 2, multiple opinion questions, and pros and cons questions. So with these, not only will you learn how to respond to these kinds of questions, but you're going to get lots and lots of practice. Okay, and for that reason, we highly recommend that you go ahead and when these courses are all released on the schedule, go ahead and sign up for them. Try to sign up for them in order. Well, no, I guess that's not entirely necessary. Sign up for them when they fit your schedule so that you can be sure and attend. But, you know, if you can do the task 1 lessons together and then do the task 2 lessons together, that might help you keep it more organized in your mind. But right now, there are not any scheduled, at the time of this recording, there are not any scheduled TOEFL lessons, but they will be coming soon. So once again, I'll show you how to enroll in those. And all of the lessons at World's English are $5 a piece. If you think it will take you a month to go through, if you want, say you want to do a lesson a week, it would take you 6 weeks to go through all these lessons. I don't recommend taking that long, because if you do that, you're going to be 24 weeks or so preparing for the TOEFL. So try to do more than 1 a week if you can. So let's just say you did 2 a week. That's you know, that's probably, I'm sorry, not 2 a week. Let's just, yeah, let's say you did 2 a week. That would be like 8 lessons a month. You probably want to do even more than that. So if you did 3 days a week, or 3 lessons a week, that would be about 12 lessons a month, or in 4 weeks. So, you know, to do 12 lessons, you're talking about $60, which is not bad if you paid for 1 lesson at a time. But we do have a subscription where you can take unlimited lessons for $29 a month. So, you know, if you're taking more than 6 lessons a month, then that would be to your benefit. Or even more than 5 lessons a month. So I would recommend that. And then in addition to that, that will give you the opportunity to take other lessons, not just the TOEFL preparation, but, you know, you may want to keep practicing your conversational and your general, I'm not finding it now, general English right here, skills along with practicing for the TOEFL. So you would have access to those as well under that subscription. And here's how you enroll in that. Otherwise, you will in the future see the TOEFL lessons listed on the schedule. They'll have this little TOEFL symbol or a similar TOEFL symbol graphic. So if you decide to enroll in the monthly subscription, then you will receive a coupon code that will allow you to enroll in all of the lessons for free for a month. And then each month you'll need to purchase your subscription again, and you'll get a new coupon code to use to enter any of the lessons you want, except of course the one-on-one. That's the only type of lesson that that costs more, and those are only $20 to have a one-on-one lesson with a native English speaking teacher. So it's also a great value. But doing $5 a lesson or $29 a month, there's no reason why you can't reach whatever English level you desire. So I thank you for being here today. I hope you are ready for the TOEFL preparation courses. And if after today you feel like you're not quite there, then please enroll in our general English courses and we'll get you there. And otherwise, we look forward to seeing you in the classroom. Have a great day. Take care. Bye-bye.